Who would have thought that a holiday in frozen Siberia would become the hot thing to do? But that's the case on Russia's Lake Baikal. Tourists zoom in on hovercrafts to marvel at ice so clear that you feel compelled to skate on it, or pose for Instagram with it, and for some, drink a shot straight off of it. Igor Pobotkin brings people here for a living.
Много отдыхающих приезжает, сейчас прям такой бум. Второй сезон появился. Если раньше был сезон только летом, то сейчас, благодаря в том числе вот и журналистам, и журналам, которые разные вот эти там публикуют фотографии, самый большой каток в мире, самый чистейший лед, самый, кстати, большой запас пресной воды такой стратегический у нас. Вот, и это привлекает.
Everyone here, including us, is traveling up the western shore of Baikal to Olkhon Island, a unique ecosystem within the lake. Beneath us, the bottom plunges to over 1,600 meters in places, making Baikal the deepest lake in the world, adding to its impressiveness. We arrive at Shaman Rock, a place so sacred some people worship it. 13 prayer poles wrapped in colorful ribbons represent the deities of nature. Ludmila Komponets comes here to share her spirituality with the tourists.
И крепко держите. Мы получаем силу огромную от этой синхронности, от матушки Земли, от батюшки Байкала, огромная толща воды.
A decade ago, international visitors here were just a trickle. Now, before the pandemic, almost 500,000 came, many from China and Europe. With the borders now closed, Russians such as Elena Ivanova are making up for them.
I'm very grateful for this part to COVID because we have a chance to travel to see our own country, which we don't know because, again, the priority always been to travel abroad.
With the tourists, though, have come immense growing pains for Baikal and its people. This remains one of the poorest regions in Russia. Many homes and towns along the lake don't even have flushing toilets. For decades, the main village on Olkhon was an impoverished fishing community.
When we started, there used to be people who didn't have money.
Natalia Bencharova and her husband Nikita moved here from Moscow 20 years ago and opened Olkhon's first guest house.
For so many years, it was really poor to the point that you ask your neighbor for food. And then all of a sudden, all this money are here. And you have, like, all your dreams could come true. You can have a car.
Hotels popped up everywhere, but the infrastructure to deal with sewage did not. Everything has to be trucked off the island. In winter, it's via an ice highway, only it's an open secret a lot of the waste gets dumped into the lake instead. Vitaly Ryabtsev is a local environmentalist who accompanied us for part of our trip.
Сейчас именно туризм является основным источником загрязнения Байкала.
We met him in the tourist town of Lisvyanka. Its waterfront is often packed with people spilling out onto the ice. If it's too cold outside, there are other attractions too. This is a show by Baikal's unique freshwater seals. Here, they're dressed up for a military holiday. All of this commercialization threatens Baikal's water purity, says Ryabtsev.
Я считаю, что главная ценность Байкала – это мировой колодец. Здесь 20% всех запасов питьевой воды. Второго такого объекта в мире нет. И к нему надо относиться именно как к колодцу. А колодец планеты и массовый туризм, я считаю, это две вещи несовместные.
The damage is already stark in places. This is a clean lake bottom versus one choked with algae. This past fall, biologists tested water samples and found most places with human settlements on the lake had some contamination. Sheets of stinking, rotten algae are becoming more common. The omol, a tasty whitefish unique to Baikal, is now endangered, although we had no trouble finding people willing to sell us some illegally. The central government in Moscow says it's very concerned about the pressure on the lake, but its response has enraged many here even more.
The law is not clear. The law is not right, and we do not have clear rules.
Galina Sibir-Yankova is a member of the Buryat Nation, the local indigenous people, and she wants to ensure she leaves a clean lake for her daughter. She says once politicians started making new rules, they picked their own favorites, and local people were the losers.
And now they ask people, they say to people that their homes are not legal.
The issue is that in Soviet times, much of this place was a national park, but its boundaries were poorly defined. Over time, authorities sold off Olkhon's land, but many of those transactions have now been declared illegal. Now, new buildings are empty, ordered torn down, and everyone in town knows about the Pink House. Elena Plokhova has arguably lost more than anyone.
Мне плакать хочется.
She and her husband Andrei moved to Olkhon 4 years ago and bought some land, intending to run a bed and breakfast. Then they were told the deal was illegal.
Нас очень сильно давили, что мы должны отсюда уехать, что должны снести свой дом. Суды начались, конечно. Он любил природу.
Andrei, who was 46, couldn't handle the stress, she said. He had a heart attack.
Вся ситуация была такая сложная, что муж мой не выдержал. И у него не выдержало сердце, и он умер. Ну, то есть было настолько сильное давление, что мы уже думали, ну что может быть еще хуже.
Elena is still in the Pink House as the court case drags on.
Ну как же, землю же выдало государство. И государство же пытается забрать ее.
Plokhova's case may be the most tragic, but it's not unique. Before the pandemic hit, Olkhon residents staged a protest arguing the land expropriation is about officials in Moscow trying to give it to their cronies instead. Vitaly Ryabtsev, the environmentalist, is hardly a friend of the Putin government, but he believes returning land, including that Pink House, to the park is the right thing to do.
Я думаю, что было бы прекрасно, если бы хотя бы самых оголтелых, вот типа вот этого розового дома, действительно снести.
So this is our second part of the property.
Visitors, though, will keep coming to Baikal, and it's a good thing too, says Natalia Bencharova. She's clashed with Vitaly Ryabtsev many times.
You know, I suffered a lot because actually I felt kind of guilty for developing tourism here. And that's what I heard from Vitaly and others, that it's me who is personally responsible for developing tourism here. And then I thought that probably if we didn't develop tourism the way it is now, this was the fear that big businesses could come.
Baikal inspires a deep connection with many who visit. Saying goodbye is hard, but increasingly people are asking whether welcoming the world is coming at too high a price. Chris Brown, CBC News on Lake Baikal.